Hey, it's Heidi Dawson, and this is Wednesday Wisdom, where I interview wildly successful people from across the world, where we get an inside view into what their daily life looks like. Success leaves clues, and on Wednesdays, we're finding them. Join me now for the latest wildly successful interview. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast, and welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. Well, today, get ready to be super inspired. My guest today is so impressive. Her name is Natalie Chapman, and she is a figure bodybuilding competitor in bodybuilding shows and was the all-over figure winner in her very first show in Atlanta, Georgia in 2013, which is nuts, and has since competed in national physique committee shows, which is the premier amateur physique organization in bodybuilding, and she's placed in the top 5 of her class for every show she's entered for the last 7 years. She's placed well enough now to where she's going to international shows, and she may do that in 21 or 22. But anyway, I could talk for hours about bodybuilding, and that fascinates me. But not only is she inspiring to me because she's done this also through surviving cancer, living with Crohn's disease, food intolerance, which I can relate to, and I'm sure a lot of you can as well. I mean, we're going to talk about an app that's been life-changing for her. So let's get this show on the road. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Heidi. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited. Ever since I talked to you that one day, I was like, I could talk to her for 14 hours straight about this. So I need to interview her for my podcast because it's so interesting. So
yes.
Let me just start out by saying your physique is amazing. Like every time I see you, I know how much hard work that is.
Well, thank you.
The first question I like to talk to everybody about is their morning routine. And I know you probably have one that is just going to blow us all away, or I hope it does, because otherwise we'll be really jealous. So, Okay. So tell me about your morning routine. Do you have one?
Yes, I do have a morning routine. So on the mornings I work, I get up very early, around 3:30 a.m.
Oh my.
I come downstairs, fix my breakfast, which is like 16 egg whites and some spinach, scramble all that together. Eat
I'm
about a third.
That down, but I don't think that's ever going to happen for me. Okay, sorry.
Yep. That's all right. So I eat about half of that breakfast, along with about 1 tablespoon of almond butter, which I love and it's my favorite. And then I go work out. So I don't usually work out on empty stomach. I always eat something before I go.
Okay, that's super interesting to me because
it
varies. Some people say working out fasted, but I'm a morning breakfast eater. Like I need to eat in the morning. So that's right. I'm glad to hear you say that. All right.
Yeah, so I work out for anywhere between like 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and that includes some cardio and some stretching. Okay. And then lifting weights.
Stretching is so important with what you do because your muscles are so, I guess I know it. So tight.
Yes, and I've learned that in the last several months. I tweaked my back and ended up in physical therapy, and so they've just been telling me nothing serious is wrong with it. I just need to stretch. Okay. So I've really been focusing on that before and after my workout, stretching my hamstrings and my hips, especially because it just makes a huge difference in, the amount of weight you can lift and your range of motion, and then preventing injury. So I'm really trying to focus on that more.
Has it helped your back?
It has. Yes, it really has. I go through a series of exercises, a couple times a day, and it has made a significant difference for me.
That's so incredible and inspiring to hear because I love to run. And when I had a coach at one point told me, you just need to stretch more because my knee was bothering me. And I thought, well, I don't know if that's it. And, I'll be darned. I stretched really well and my knee doesn't bother me anymore. So yeah, that's great to hear that it also helped your back. Okay. All right.
Yeah, because I'm always the person who walks around going, I don't need to stretch her. I'll stretch like 5 minutes and be like, yeah, that's good enough.
I know, because
I'm
it
ready to
seems
go.
like you've worked so hard to work out, and it seems like it's a waste of time. But the more
Mhm.
I listen to people like you and to other athletes, stretching
Mhm.
is it's equally almost as important
I
as what.
know. Yeah, it is. So now I'm in a position where I have to do it, and it's
Right.
making me do it, and so it's working. So I'm gonna keep doing it.
All right, good. All
So
right.
yeah.
So then, how many hours a night do you sleep? Because you're getting up
You
at
know,
9:30.
yeah, usually only about 6 hours,
Okay.
which I would like to get about 8 hours. I don't sleep very well, and I'm not sure why.
Okay.
I go through spells where I will sleep better sometimes than others. And right now I'm not sleeping well. It may be because I've been dieting so long,
Yeah.
and I've got another show coming up, and you'd think if you're just extremely tired, you'd sleep better, but I'm not sure why. But I would like 8 hours, but I usually only sleep about 6 hours a night.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So,
If 6 hours is too little for me. Like if I get seven,
yeah,
I'm good. If I get eight,
yeah,
I am on top of the world. So
right.
yeah, I think if so far I found most people do like eight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they thrive, I think, on eight. So all right. So what got you interested in bodybuilding and fitness competitions?
Okay, well, I had been a group fitness instructor for years,
Okay.
and we had just moved from North Carolina back to my home state in Georgia, and there wasn't room for me to teach on the group fitness schedule in the gym that I joined. And so I still took some classes, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go out on the weight floor and see what this is about, because I'd never really just, wandered the weight floor, tried any of the machines. I was too intimidated by the machines. I didn't
Yeah.
know how they worked.
You
I
kind
was
of
going to be
feel.
embarrassed.
Yeah, that's what I agree with you. You saying that
Right,
I'm used to it now, but when it first started out, you kind of feel like everybody's watching you and like they're watching
right.
you and they know you don't know how to use it. But that
Uh-huh.
couldn't be farther from the truth. Like they're so worried about like themselves.
Themselves.
Okay, so you got out on the weight floor.
Right. And, just I started watching people on the machines and started reading the little labels on the
Yeah,
machines.
I know
And
those
I
are
just started doing it myself. And then somebody approached me and said, have you ever thought about doing a figure competition, which is, part of a bodybuilding show? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? I don't know what that is. And they said, well,
you
go
must have
home
been
and
really fit.
yeah, well, I've always been athletic. I ran track and cross country in high school, took aerobics through college, and then ended up teaching aerobics. So I've always been pretty lean,
Okay.
and pretty fit. So
I was gonna say nobody's ever come up to me at the gym and be like, "You should do fitness." So I'm like, "You must have really looked good." You look amazing now. So I'm sure now it's like everybody looks at you and goes, "She's definitely a competitor." So that's funny.
so but
Okay.
anyway, so I went home and looked it up on YouTube, and I thought, well, I'm not sure I could do this, because I'm naturally a shy person, kind of reserved, and so I was like, I don't know. But I got in touch with a show promoter in Atlanta and started talking to her about it. And she was telling me that she could coach me on the posing and she could give me some nutrition coaching as well. And I thought, well, I'm used to being on stage teaching aerobics with a microphone. And on this kind of stage, I wouldn't have to say anything. All you have to do is walk out there, do a little routine, and do some quarter turns, smile a lot, and then you're done. And
Right.
so
Just
I
real
thought, well,
easy.
okay. Yeah, so right, this is going to be easy. So I'm going to give it a shot, you know? So that lady, she gave me the posing classes and everything. And so that one year, I tried it and I did really well. I beat every girl there and won the overall figure award.
That's so
And
crazy.
so I was on cloud nine for a week. That was one of the best days of my life, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It
it's
was
such
so
an
much fun.
accomplishment, especially
Yeah.
when you see all these other, girls up there and they've worked hard and some of them
Uh-huh.
probably for years, and then you just sort of waltz right in there
Yeah.
on your first year.
So,
Wow,
but
that's incredible. I love that.
yeah, so I was super excited and thought after that day, I was like, I could do this again.
Yes,
So
it's addictive.
yeah, and so every year after since then, I've done about 2 shows a year,
Yeah.
and have just thoroughly enjoyed it and have become addicted to it, and am just fascinated at watching my body change from year to year. Because
Yeah.
when you enter these shows, there's always that girl
Hmm.
in every show who can walk out on stage having never done a show and win the whole thing.
Like you do.
There's all, yeah, I had my time. It doesn't come often, so
Right.
I'm grateful for that time. But yeah, there's always that girl who can do that. And it always depends on who's standing next to you in the show, whether you do well or not. So
Oh my
I try to
goodness.
have the attitude that I'm trying to beat myself from the last show that I did,
Okay.
and improve upon myself, because you never know. I mean, I may be standing next to the girl who's been training for 10 years,
Yeah.
and she has more mature muscle than I do, and she's better conditioned than I am. And so she deserves to get the higher placing than I do,
Okay.
so you just never know.
You have such a good mindset about that. But I have a question.
Okay.
do you do you ever like kind of like see a girl and you're going, I'm not going to stand next to her? Or do you have specific spots? Like there's no way you're going to,
Oh
you,
yeah, you have specific spots.
okay.
Yeah,
I
you
was
have
like,
specific
you're
spots.
see some girl, I would be like, oh, no. I'm going to squeeze over here because I do not want to stand next to her.
Right, and what
Okay.
they do is when you get out on stage, they put you in a line. They say there's an expediter on stage, a person who's helping us and showing us where to stand. So they will stand us in a straight line, and then when the judges are judging us, they will say number 4 switch places with number 5. So those 2 girls will
Oh,
switch, and so they compare you against every
okay.
girl beside you. So, and then they have us do the quarter turns where we stand front, we stand to the side, stand to the back, to the other side, and back to the front. And we may do those quarter turns, I don't know, 5, 6 times, and then they'll move us around again. So they are trying to decide who has the best physique. So, you can't be shy up there. The judges are looking at everything,
Yeah.
everything.
You have to
So,
have a lot of confidence, Natalie, to
oh
do
yeah,
that. Yeah. I know,
yeah,
because they're looking at every little thing, and that's the specific reason they're looking at you is they're
right.
judging
It's a
you. Yeah,
bodybuilding show.
it's a show. So yeah,
Yeah,
that is so interesting to me. And then they just kind of,
right.
I guess it's good if you get a lot of movement because they want to see you next to everyone, and then you're
Right.
like, okay, this is good, this is good.
Right. And usually the girl in the middle is the higher the placing. So if you're in the middle and they judge everybody's moving you, or moving around you, then that's very good. So, but sometimes you can move to the end because a judge over here can't see you as well.
Right.
So, you
That
move
makes
over here.
sense.
So, but anyway,
Okay. Wow. Okay.
but
So
yeah.
then I've seen pictures. I have not been to a bodybuilding show.
Uh-huh.
They do fascinate me, and I've seen pictures. So I have questions about that. Everyone's
Okay,
so
sure.
tan. They all
Mhm.
have like really beautiful bathing suits. What is the day in the life, and what's the tan? Why is everyone so tan? And tell me a little bit about all that.
Okay, so everybody is so tan because the stage lights are so bright that if you did not have a super dark tan, your muscles are washed out and the judges, they can't see any definition, they can't see any of the cuts, any of the lines.
Okay.
So you just might as well not even enter if you're not going to get a tan, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
so yeah, so everybody is spray tanned the night before the show. So Friday night you get a spray tan, and then we wake up early Saturday morning, like they start tans at 4 in the morning,
Wow.
and everybody gets another coat, so you're super dark. And then before we go on stage, they'll glaze us and make us shiny, and give us any touch-ups that we need.
Right. Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, the tans are a big deal, and we're super dark. Like if I'm standing, conversation distance away from you, I'm super, super, super dark.
Okay.
So, but
So
on
it's
stage,
kind of like
and
makeup. You always
yeah, yeah,
feel like you have too much on, but then you look at the picture and you look perfect.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because on stage it looks good because the lights are so bright. But there's a lot that goes on. Like the week before, I'll get my nails done. I get my hair colored.
You can do whatever color, like, nails you want, right? There's no
Yeah,
restriction.
you can do any color you want. I usually just do like French white or whatever because it
Okay, yeah.
goes with everything. But yeah, hair, nails, and then the spray tans, any waxing that you want to do, all that kind of stuff is done the week before. And then, like I said, the spray tan's done the day before and then the morning of the show. But the suits are specific to the division. So like I'm in the figure division.
Okay.
So our suits look a little bit different than the bikini girl division.
Okay.
So our suits, like it's a bikini top and then it crosses in the back and hooks on the back part of our suit. The bikini girls have like a halter top and then just like a bikini bottom. It
Okay.
doesn't cross. And I don't
You
know
wouldn't even know that if
specifically.
you didn't know, if you weren't familiar with the competition,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know. But is the cross in the back probably helps define, like you see everything maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, I'm not really sure, honestly.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting. So yeah, you're
yeah.
not going to Dillard's and buying a
No,
bathing suit, a sparkly
no,
bathing suit.
no.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. That is so interesting to me. All right. So then of course you have your makeup done. Do you put on eyelashes?
Yes, we put on fake eyelashes. Yeah, makeup is done, at the show. Um, and I wish I could do my own makeup. Some girls can do their own makeup and they look
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
I usually cannot do it well, so I get
When I
somebody
have
to
a
do
photo
it.
shoot, I have someone do my makeup because it never looks as good when I do it. And
Yeah,
I cannot put on my own eyelashes. So I
right.
have to have someone professionally do that. Okay, so now then one last question about that, because I want to get to some other things about your health
Okay.
that we've talked about. But there's so many different girls there. Is there a sense of camaraderie with everyone, or is it really just competition, everyone for themselves?
Now, I think that every show I have been to, all the girls backstage have just been so friendly.
That's good.
I mean, everybody has been great, very helpful. If you need help with your suit, you usually can ask the girl over here. You don't even know her. She's like, "Oh, sure, I'll help you." So I've never encountered anybody that was rude or, tried to steal my shoes or tried to steal my pump up band or anything like that. Nothing like that.
Okay.
And I've heard of stories like that, but I've never experienced it.
Okay, well, that's good. I like that there's a sense of camaraderie, because you can imagine that with a bunch of girls that are competing for each other with each other, it could get ugly. But
Right,
I'm glad to hear
right,
that it isn't.
right.
That's helpful. All right, so have you always been super fit then, and eaten lean, or is that something you've done more recently?
Like I said, I've always been athletic and pretty lean. And then my diet has changed over the years because of like the Crohn's disease, and I'll say my Crohn's disease has been mild and is now in remission. So I'm not dealing with that as much anymore.
Because
So
there is no real cure for that. Am I right on that?
right, there's no cure for it, but it can go into remission, and mine has been in remission for several years now. So, and then when it was flared up was when I was in my early 20s, and I took medication for it, but I was never like hospitalized for that.
Okay,
Um,
good.
but then
That's really
my diet has
painful, right?
changed. Yes, it can be. And I had a lot of diarrhea with mine. That was my issue. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, so my diet has also changed because of the food intolerances I've learned that I have over the years. And that has been extremely helpful for me in, educating myself and finding out from others, like this app I told you about, the low FODMAP diet app. Because I found out that I had intolerances to like lactose and fructose and
As do I.
fructose.
Now I know that
Yes.
I have lactose, but I didn't, and glucose. But now
Hmm.
fructose is something that's new. I hadn't heard that. So fructose can be a problem as well then.
Right. So, fructose is, is like a short chain carbohydrate, I believe, if that's correct. And they diagnosed it through a test at the gastroenterologist's office. So I drank fructose. I drank this liquid with fructose,
Okay.
and then I waited, and then I actually blew into this bag. Okay. And they measured that whatever came out of my breath. I don't know the scientific way they did it, but anyway, they found out that I had this intolerance to fructose.
Hmm.
And so since then I was like, okay, so what's in fructose? So it's in a lot of fruit, or high fructose corn syrup. The first thing I cut out
Oh.
was high fructose corn syrup, and that made a huge difference in like gas and bloating in my digestive system. Huge difference.
Yeah, we talked about at one point I asked you about your joint pain and you said you don't have any, but I
Hmm.
noticed that sugar, when I eat sugar or glucose, I have joint pain. And so I don't I haven't been eating that, and it's helpful. I mean, it's very
Right.
helpful. It's when when you recognize food can be, your medicine or
Uh-huh.
not, and it can also be your poison. And I don't think
Exactly.
people really realize that, and it affects your mental state too. Is that something you've noticed, that it kind of affects mentally how you feel? Food?
Well, just I would say mentally is a secondary symptom because I just feel so terrible and
Okay.
feel lethargic. You know, I don't necessarily say I would have mental fog, but I just feel so bad. I mean, I can tell because now I've gotten to a point where I know my food triggers, and so like I could eat, say, ketchup that has high fructose corn syrup in it. I could eat a little bit of ketchup, you know, a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, something like that. But if I eat a bunch of ketchup, then I'm going to have an issue, So I figured out the amounts that I can eat,
Just a little
and
bit isn't good.
yeah, just right, a little bit. And even with natural fruits like in grapes, or fructans are in vegetables too,
Right.
like
Carrots.
asparagus.
Is it
Okay.
carrots?
So I figured out I can eat a little bit of those foods and be okay, but I cannot eat them all day, every day,
Right.
or I will just be miserable.
And I think that's something, think about that for a second. You're talking about fruits and vegetables, which is something
Mm,
that most people think of as really healthy foods. And that is the thing that I think I've been surprised about the most, is that it's not healthy for everyone. Eggs,
right.
to me, I took a food allergy test and I was allergic to eggs. Now, I think that was because I was eating so many, because
Uh-huh.
now I'm gradually easing eggs back in and it's okay. But,
Mm-hmm.
so some foods, if you're not feeling good and you still are eating healthy, it's good to go get a food allergy test, because it can make a difference in the way you feel, for sure. So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
so now, when you're not training for a fitness competition, how does your diet and exercise change, or does it? I'm sure it does. Has to.
Well, my exercise really does not change. So, like somebody said, "Oh, are you training for a show now?" And I'm like, "I'm always training for a show."
I'm always training.
Like,
I'm
I'm
always
always
on.
training.
Okay,
Right. So,
so then what is that? How many we talked about this. How many days a week do you train weight wise?
usually 5 days a week.
Yeah. And but that
Um,
could be anywhere from 1 to 2.
yeah, 1 to 2 hours. Gosh, sometimes, and lately for legs, I've been training, gosh, 2.5 hours or something.
I know I see
Um,
you in the gym and it's like you're a machine. That's so
I
good.
mean, I don't, people say, how do you do it? I'm like, you know what? I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the person that I'll work out all morning, and then by dinner time, I'm like, gosh, I'm ready to go to the gym again.
Yeah.
I mean, truly. And I don't know why, but I'm
Well,
just
it's
like
not
that.
because it makes you feel. It gives you, is it dopamine? What does it give you? You know,
Yeah.
endorphins that you
Yeah. Release
feel
those
so good.
endorphins.
I
Uh-huh.
feel like I look forward to my exercise. I used to always tell myself, and I'd tell anybody that would listen, that I hated running. And then
Mm-hmm.
I started running slowly and I started stretching and nothing hurt. And now I run 5 miles twice a week. And I'm telling you, I look forward to it. Like, that is something
Yeah.
I look forward to every time I'm ready to do it. And the same thing for the gym. I love going to the gym and working out. It feels so good to challenge your body. you know.
Yeah, I agree. And then also, it's a community. There are friends up there, people that you like to see every day. And so,
Right.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's really kind of how we met is
Oh, sure.
we
Yeah.
met through Amanda, but at the gym, and we've seen
At
each
the
other
gym.
several times. And so
Yeah.
I love that too, because I work from home. And, so a lot of times if I'm not doing interviews for my podcast or working with a design client, I'm alone, I'm working from home.
Uh-huh.
So it's fun to go to the gym and see all my friends.
That's right.
I love that. All right. So now you have, you've overcome some pretty serious health issues. Is there any advice that you could give just from your experience of what someone that's struggling with a health issue right now, is there any advice you could give them to not only survive, but thrive like you have?
I would say, take one day at a time. God's going to give you what you need to be sufficient for the day. So, if all you can do is sit up on the side of your bed, if that's all you can do today, then try to do it 3-4 times, or if all you can do is walk to the mailbox,
Right.
try to do that one time, and then tomorrow try to do it 2 times, so,
Yeah.
so wherever you are, just set small goals for you. And remember that any kind of progress is progress. No matter how
That's
small,
beautiful.
it's progress. So
That is beautiful. I really, really am glad you said that, because that's true with anything.
yeah,
We tend to think if we don't make huge strides that it's not a success. But
right,
what leads to huge strides are small strides. It's that
exactly.
first step. It's the first like 5-minute walk you take leads to
Mm-hmm.
a 10-minute walk the next day, leads to
Exactly.
a 5-mile run like I'm doing now. It really
Right.
does. And you just have to be gradual about it and do not beat yourself up. I'm so glad you said that. One day at
Yeah.
a time, small
One
goal.
day at a time. And be patient with yourself. Because like in bodybuilding, people, and I do it too. I look at the girls on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I want to look like that in 8 weeks, but
Yeah,
it just
right.
doesn't, it doesn't happen like that.
No,
I've been bodybuilding for, 7 years now and I look like this. So 7 years, so, it takes time, it takes patience. And, you just have to set your goals for today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and just do the best you can every day.
I love that. It's patience. Patience is key. It's,
Mm-hmm.
I saw someone posted something today that was talking about how being really fit is 10% cardio, 10% working out, 70% diet, and 10% patience. And I thought that was really good, because
Yeah.
diet is always the key.
Key.
Nobody wants that to be true. I don't want
I
it to
know.
be true.
I know.
I wish I could eat anything I want and just still look like you, but that can't happen. Just can't do
Mm-mm.
it. And that's not
No.
the way we were built. So this has been fascinating. So you have your pictures are on your Instagram, and your workout videos that now that I follow you, I love those.
Oh,
How
well,
would
thank you.
somebody follow you if they wanted to see your workouts? Because you do post some videos that are really
Yeah.
inspiring, because like your squats that you were doing the other day, you were doing
Uh-huh.
some squat machine. You go so low. So it's really inspiring for people. So everybody go follow Natalie. What is your Instagram handle?
Instagram is at Chapman 4019. So 4019. Chapman 4019.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on the show notes. And then is there I didn't really talk about this, but is there a book that you've read or anything that has inspired you that you like, any kind of, is it bodybuilding or health books or anything? Are you a big reader?
Honestly, no.
Yeah, well that's okay. That's all
That's
right.
one thing. I wish I read more. I like to listen to podcasts and listen to audiobooks.
Right.
Um, but not really.
Okay, that's totally fine. Well, okay, well, this has been so much fun, and I've learned a lot. I really, really enjoyed talking to you about this, because it is fascinating to me how hard you work, but also how motivated you are to stay this way year in and year out. Because for 7 years, you've been doing it. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on today. I've enjoyed it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.